Delhi boy meets Pune boy and set up in Bombay, Mumbai.
We love the city, so we knew that this is the city for us. So we were like always being like, we are the underdogs. We are going to do this slowly.
How do you come up with the names? Do the two of you ideate, or is it one person and then you kind of bounce the idea off? Who's come up with most names?
I'll say it, coming up with names is the worst part of doing things. Worst because it's like
everyone
a democracy, everyone has an opinion.
And there's
like
no right or wrong.
Yes,
it's
that
no
is
right
true.
or wrong. Like with O Pedro, it took us forever. Bombay Canteen actually was going to be called Tiffin Club before. And like 6 months before we were going to open, and someone opened something, Tiffin something, so we had to change its name. Veronica's actually was the only brand which was the
super
fastest because we are on Veronica's Street. So and
that kind of sorted it.
Yeah, absolutely.
With Bombay Sweet Shop also, we knew we wanted Bombay in the name. We've tried I think we've done Sweet Mart, Sweet just Bombay Sweet,
Barfi.
Bombay Barfi, Bombay Indi, like it took too long.
Many versions of Bombay. I don't think I've ever heard of a 5-day week for a restaurant business. I mean, how did that come about?
We both can't change is the physicality of work, right? Chefs have to be standing for 9 to 10 hours a day. And it was basics, right? Like give them 2 good offs and they come back fresher. It just increases the amount of time they spend with us as a company as well, right? We all need to look at how the journey of an employee is meaningful both ways.
You were talking about COVID, and I think that was an existential moment for a lot of businesses, but particularly for the hospitality industry, because you could do nothing till the restrictions lifted.
100%. There's no doubt. I think in our case, especially losing Chef Floyd very early on in the pandemic, I think it was just something that the world had literally shifted beneath our feet. At that time, for social interactions, we all had Zoom.
Yeah.
For entertainment, we had moved to Netflix and all that. But food still had to be delivered to your home, and we were like, how can we bring that newness to the food? So Yash, me and the team sat down in my living room and we basically spitballed ideas for a whole afternoon, and we just decided every 30 to 45 days we'll create a new brand, online of course. So it started off with the Sandwich Shack, it went to Pita Shack, which is Mediterranean food, it went to King Fu Canteen, which is Indian Chinese, it went to Thai food, and we just kept the ball rolling till restrictions were lifted again.
10 years, 6 brands, over 600 employees, 115 crore rupees in annual revenue, and a mission to reimagine Indian food and hospitality for the modern Indian consumer. Hello and welcome to Young Turks Reloaded. I'm Shireen Bhan. And on the show today, we spotlight Hunger Inc. Hospitality, the force behind some of India's most celebrated dining experiences. Whether it's the nostalgia-infused menus at the Bombay Canteen, the Goan sunshine on a plate at O Pedro, or the reimagined mithai at the Bombay Sweet Shop, the venture claims every brand under the Hunger Inc. umbrella is built with purpose, pride, and a deep-rooted love for India. Joining me are the two friends turned co-founders who left behind stable careers to build a business rooted in creativity, culture, and community. Over the past decade, Sameer Seth and Yash Bhange have navigated personal loss, resisted the pressures of scale at any cost, and stayed fiercely independent, all while building a team-first culture that's become the very soul of their success. Sameer, Yash, many thanks for joining us here on the Young Turks podcast. It's great to have the two of you here at the Bombay Canteen. And I can see all of your brands, or at least 3 of them, prominently on display here. But, let me start by talking to you. It's a 10-year journey. In 2015, everyone was trying to be a tech company. You were trying to do e-commerce, you were trying to do logistics, you were trying to do online travel, dating apps, so on and so forth. What in the world were you thinking about when you decided to get into the hospitality business? Sameer, I'm going to start with you.
I guess we didn't know better. But jokes apart, I think this was when Yash and I met in 2010 at Cornell. I think we would joke about the fact that someday we'll go back to India and do our own thing together. And I think both of us were on this journey where we were obsessed with food and everything to do with it. And I think at the end of the day, we were lucky enough to work with some of the best folks in the world. I was in the US, Yash was in Singapore, and I think then the timing was just right. In 2012, we started talking to each other, and over Skype calls at that time, talking about what we will create. And I think that was just the beginning of that journey.
So 2012 to 2015, that's the process of ideation to actually turning into reality. What were, as you said, you didn't know any better, and I think you learn with the experience. But at that point in time when you were starting up, what did you think the toughest part would be to set up a food business in India?
So I think it's interesting because we were very like playing the underdogs, like, being humble. I remember the same journey you talk about, 2 years to set up the restaurant. When we pitched it to someone, they're like, a bunch of losers is taking you 2 years to set up a restaurant. So we were wary of the fact that both of us are not from Mumbai, right? So we know
Delhi boy meets Pune boy and set up in Bombay,
Yeah.
Mumbai.
And we love the city, so we knew that this is the city for us. So we were like always being like, we are the underdogs, we are going to do this slowly, we are going to do it the right way. But there was a sense of confidence. Like in 2015, for me, it had already been 8 years of working in the industry.
Yeah.
So the tipping point for me had reached that, I've worked for someone else for a long time and let's do this on our own. And then knowing Sameer personally and having studied with him, I think we had a deeper relationship. So we knew we were ready for it. But ground realities of it was like, everyone knows about doing business in India, and we were very aware of it, and we were.
And that didn't deter you?
It didn't deter us, and I think it was one of those things where I think the other wind beneath our sails was having Chef Floyd with us.
Yeah.
He was my boss in New York, and I think once we came up with the sort of outline of what eventually became Bombay Canteen, we both were very clear we didn't know how to cook.
Can you cook today?
Yeah.
We both can, but professionally we've never cooked in a professional kitchen. So that focus on product was something which both of us agreed on, and I think at the end of the day, it's eventually you could be my friend, you could be my family. If I serve you 2 bad meals in a row,
Yeah.
you're not coming
Yeah.
back. And I think getting Floyd to agree to come onto the project was a huge win for us. And in that we had a lot of confidence. So eventually both of us made our way back to India, and on the ground, obviously from the space we are sitting in, I think it took us 13-14 months just to identify it, close it, and actually get going. And I think that was the longest sort of trajectory for one of the tasks to be completed. But after that, we knew once we signed the space, because both of us had been in the industry, worked with some amazing folks, then we knew what we were doing. I think opening the door was not scary at all.
Opening the door was not scary at all. But in 2015, when you started, Indian food, or a take on Indian food, was not the cool thing to do. I mean, typical Indian restaurants have sort of been come in there, eat your meal and exit. I mean,
Yeah.
literally that. The decision to actually go down this path, was there ever any doubt on can this work?
I feel every founder who starts anything, day one, you have to be naive. Naivety helps because it drives you. You have to be a bit stupid.
No plan B.
Yeah, there needs to be that, not arrogance, but self-confidence that,
Yeah.
I have this idea and I'm going to run with it and I'm going to listen to people. But, there is naivety. Like you asked, did we ever think this would become a 10-year thing? We wished it would, but did we think it would? We were just hoping.
Yeah.
So to his point, when we signed this space was when I actually put my resignation papers in Singapore.
Huh.
Like literally on a WhatsApp call, Sam was like, okay, we've got a letter of intent. I was like, okay, I'm writing my resignation letter. Because we both decided, he had moved from New York, I had moved from Singapore. And that we both moving back without a salary is not the best option here. So he moved back first and started looking for the space. But to your point, we both had seen the journey of where restaurants were, especially for him in the United States, for me, Southeast Asia. And the way restaurants were getting more proud of who they are and where they come from. Especially Southeast Asia, we were seeing this love for Southeast Asian cuisines. Younger talent going work the world over, coming back, but focusing on their own food and bringing it to the food that we want today. And we didn't see that happening in India.
I want to pick up on those 2 words, intention and building an institution. So intentionalizing institutional sort of scale. And that's been the big problem with this business, not just here in India, but universally as well. As you look at operating these 6 different brands today, I mean, are you largely going to remain a Bombay-focused, a Mumbai-focused operation because scale is so hard to replicate in this business?
I think we say it for our values as well. Bombay will always be the spirit of this company. When we were putting our 6 values together as well, the way we narrate it to our team, when we talk about our values, we tell them one story of how an employee demonstrated the value, but also a story about Bombay, a real story on how someone demonstrated that value. We will not be only a Mumbai city company. We will grow, but we've always had honesty on our side for both of us. We knew when we were starting Bombay Canteen and then we did O Pedro. After doing these 2 restaurants, we knew that these were going to be experience-led restaurants. And scaling experience-led restaurants in India is easier said than done. Every state of India behaves like a different country.
Yeah,
right?
with a whole different set of approvals that you have to go through.
And not just approvals, it's also taste buds,
Yeah.
right? People, different demographics, what they want, the time at which they eat. So we were very focused to say, okay, these 2 restaurants, great, they're creating the goodwill, they're creating the right experiences for people. But the next brand we intentionally want to build should have a product focus to it, right? But it will come under the Hungering umbrella of celebrating India through food.
So which is the Bombay Sweet Shop essentially for you?
Yeah, so that's a brand we see growing because it's a product-led brand, but at the end of the day, it's an agent of joy. Like you open that box, it brings a smile to your face. And we can do that not just to the people who come within the 4 walls of a restaurant, now the box reaches your home. So we know we can grow that all over India, but we are taking our time with it. We hope to hit 10 stores by next year. But there's a huge distribution network that Sam can talk about that we've set up in the last 5 years that has helped us grow smartly.
Yeah, and the back end, I think that's where all the magic truly happens.
Yeah.
The
Correct,
front end is where
absolutely.
you experience it, but the back end, the kitchen, quite literally,
Yeah.
And
is where it happens.
To your point, like scale is a function of process. It's not a function of creativity. And yes, the creative spark obviously leads to delightful products that bring joy. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to do now with Sweet Shop very intentionally is that we're trying to just figure the playbook out in Bombay first. Make our mistakes here in a controlled environment, which we are really familiar with. So right now we have 16 dark stores, 5 retail stores, and we are learning a lot.